You know that feeling, right? When your chest gets tight, or maybe those worries just keep circling in your head. So many people deal with this.
Mm. It's incredibly common.
Yeah. So today, we're really diving into a book that tackles this head on. Breaking Free from the Darkness, Guide to Overcoming Anxiety and Depression by Cindy J. Washington.
Right. And we've got a book review to look at, plus some info on the author herself.
Exactly. We want to pull out the key stuff, the practical takeaways that might actually offer some, real hope and guidance if this is something you're going through.
Well, the first thing that jumped out at me from the review was how it called the book a much-needed beacon of hope.
Yeah, and transformative guide. Those are strong words.
They really are. It makes you think it's aiming for something deeper than just, like, coping tips.
Yeah.
It suggests real change is possible.
And I think how it does that is important too. The review mentions the tone is really conversational, supportive, like talking to a trusted friend.
Which is huge, isn't it? When you're feeling low or anxious, the last thing you want is a dry clinical textbook.
Definitely not. You want something approachable, something that feels understanding.
And that approachable feel probably helps deliver its holistic approach more effectively. The review says it's an integrative path to wellness.
Meaning not just one single solution.
Exactly. No one-size-fits-all thing. It seems to recognize that everyone's journey with this stuff is different, needs a mix of strategies.
Okay, so what kinds of strategies are we talking about? The review mentions some practical tools.
Yeah, it lists things like journaling prompts, breathing techniques, grounding exercises.
Let's maybe unpack those a bit. Like, what would a journaling prompt look like in this context?
Well, it might be something specific to get you thinking, you know? Like, what situations really spiked your anxiety this week? See any patterns? That kind of focused reflection.
Okay, that makes sense. Digging a little deeper.
Right. And breathing techniques could be simple stuff like box breathing, inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Really helps calm the nervous system.
I've heard of that one. And grounding.
Grounding is all about pulling yourself back to the here and now when your mind's racing or you feel detached. Like the 5-4-3-2-1 method.
Oh, yeah. Notice 5 things you see, 4 you can touch.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Helps anchor you in the present. But importantly, the review also notes the book encourages seeking professional help, too.
Right. So these tools are part of the picture, not the whole picture.
Precisely. They work alongside or maybe lead you towards getting that expert support if needed.
Okay, so beyond the tools, what are the big themes the book covers? It sounds like it goes pretty wide.
It does seem comprehensive. The review mentioned identifying emotional triggers.
So figuring out what sets off those feelings?
Yeah. What people, places, or even just thoughts kickstart the anxiety or the low mood. Understanding those is sort of step one.
And then?
Then it talks about rewiring negative thought patterns. You know, those automatic negative thoughts that just pop up.
I'm going to mess this up. This will never get better. That kind of thing.
Exactly. So learning to catch them, challenge them. Like, okay, where's the actual evidence for that thought? What's another way to look at this?
That sounds like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT ideas.
Very much in that vein, yes.
Yeah.
But it also talks about reconnecting with joy, with purpose, even spiritual well-being. It's not just about tackling the negative.
It's about building up the positive, too.
Right. Finding what lights you up again, what gives life meaning. That builds resilience.
And the reviews stress that the exercises aren't just surface-level fixes, but aim for deep inner transformation.
Yeah, that suggests going beyond just managing symptoms day to day. It sounds like it encourages looking at the roots.
Which feels important for lasting change.
Absolutely. And another thing the review highlighted was the book's honesty, its authenticity.
How so?
It said the author doesn't, like, sugarcoat things. She acknowledges the raw, isolating reality of anxiety and depression.
That validation can be so powerful, can it? You just feeling like someone gets how hard it is.
It really can.
Yeah.
It breaks down that feeling of being totally alone in it.
And from that honest place, it then tries to show a way forward.
Exactly. A path built on resilience, growth, and self-love.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just about surviving, but about actively building inner strength and being kinder to yourself through it all.
There was that quote mentioned in the review, too.
Oh, yeah. Powerful one. You are not your darkness. You are the light fighting to break through.
Wow. Yeah, that really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? It frames it as a fight within you, where your light is the active force, not just being defined by the struggle.
It's very empowering language. It gives you a sense of agency.
So thinking about who this book would resonate with, who is it really for?
Well, the review clearly says it's great for people just beginning their mental health journey. The accessible style, the practical tools. It makes sense.
Sure, a good starting point.
But interestingly, it also mentions it could be valuable for caregivers and even therapists.
Oh, why therapy?
Maybe it offers, different perspectives or
Yeah.
perhaps useful frameworks and exercises they could adapt for clients. It suggests a broader relevance.
So it offers, as the review put it, not just information, but inspiration.
That seems to be the idea. Motivation, hope, alongside the practical advice.
Okay, so we've got a good sense of the book. What about the author, Cindy J. Washington? What do we know about her?
Well, she's described as a passionate mental wellness advocate, and she's also a holistic lifestyle blogger.
Okay, so she's active in this space online too. Does she have a blog name?
Yes, Green Time Wellness. So that's probably another place people can find her work and ideas.
And her background seems really relevant. Psychology background.
Right, and this feels really significant, a deep personal understanding of anxiety and depression herself.
Ah, so she's walked the walk, so to speak.
It seems so. That combination of professional knowledge and lived experience,
Yeah.
that often creates a really empathetic and credible voice. You trust someone who's been there.
Totally. It adds a different layer. And what's her overall mission, would you say?
Her stated mission is about empowering people to reclaim their inner light, and she focuses on holistic healing, mindfulness, emotional awareness to do that.
Which lines up perfectly with what the book review described.
Exactly. It all seems very consistent. The blog probably explores those themes further.
The info also mentioned she's a wife and a mom.
Yeah, wife and mother of two. Just adds that relatable human touch. She's dealing with everyday life stuff alongside her advocacy work.
Right, not just an expert in an ivory tower.
Definitely not. Seems very grounded.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, if you had to boil it down, what's the core takeaway message from breaking free from the darkness based on what we've discussed?
I think fundamentally it's a message of hope, that healing is possible, and crucially, that you're not alone in the struggle.
Yeah. And that there are practical steps, an approach that feels supportive, like having a friend guide you towards finding that inner light again.
Mm-hmm. It seems to offer both the tools and the encouragement.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening, drawing inspiration from this book's whole approach.
Yeah, maybe think about this. What's just one small thing, one tiny step you could do today to nurture your own well-being?
It doesn't have to be huge.
Not at all. Maybe it's just taking 3 deep breaths when you feel stressed, or writing down one thing you're grateful for before bed, or just stepping outside for 5 minutes.
Simple things.
Really simple. Just remember, like the book suggests, this is a journey. Inner transformation, feeling better. It happens step by step, and every small step counts.